Gentlemen, good evening. My name is Sriranga Narasimha. You can call me as Sri. So, I'm here to moderate this evening's panel discussion. Along with me, Sri Pradipta Patro, RPG Group's Head of Cybersecurity and IT. Pradipta ji, please accept my greetings. Sri Sachin Kavalkar, NIAMO CISO and Global Head of InfoSec. Hello,
Hi.
Sachin ji. And Sri Mohammed Rafiuddin, Columbus Global Services, India's Director and CISO, IT Security and Governance. Hello, Mohammed ji, welcome on board.
Thank you.
So, greetings, and I'm delighted to share it with the gentlemen as well as various perspectives on the cyber industry, cyber risk, threat landscapes, and last but not the least, the CISO's vision for security and risk management 2023. So, before we get started on this fantastic topic, I would like you to introduce yourself, your background, experience.
Thank you for inviting me to this session. It's an honor sharing the panel with such esteemed co-panelists. Again, I am Mohammed Rafiuddin. For ease, I go with the name Rafi. I just carry the name of the great singer. I don't carry the talent. I often get asked, can you sing for us? Which I can't, but I can appreciate people who sing. So I call myself an incidental CISO because I started my journey as a help desk analyst around 18 years back, and being a help desk. In fact, to be precise, I was a call center executive in my first job. I moved on to tech support in CA Technologies, which was a product-based company. I was doing tech support for service desk manager, then identity management. Then I moved on to the internal audit function where I did IT audits, testing, and so on and so forth. Subsequently, I was the data privacy manager for Cantor, which is a market research firm for 12 countries in APAC. Now I am the CISO for Columbus Global, which is a Denmark-based IT consulting firm. I'm responsible for security and compliance. Along with that, I enjoy teaching. I have recently published a course on Udemy, which is called the CISO Masterclass. That is one thing I've done. And last week, I've published second course, which is role-based user awareness training, which I felt I could not find it in the market for myself. So I've developed what kind of threats C-suits face and what kind of threats the finance team, again, AR, AP, etc. So I've done extensive research and I have published that on Udemy last week. And I also participate and speak in different forums, webinars, etc. As much as I'm here to share my knowledge, I'm equally here to learn something new from my co-panelists. Again, pleasure being here. I look forward to hearing everybody's views. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Mohammed. So could you please, Sachin Kavalkar?
Yes. So thank you so much, CXOTV, and a very warm good evening, afternoon, from whichever the part of the world you are, people. I'm Sachin Kavalkar. I'm a global CISO, cyber head, and quality management group head in NIAMO. NIAMO is one of the largest global payroll HRO organizations spread across multiple geolocations. So currently I'm managing the InfoSec and cyber vertical in NIAMO. And a pleasure to have here for a great discussion and a great topic.
So thank you very much, Sachin. Pradipta, please take your turn.
Yeah, thanks CXOTV for for this wonderful session today, and good evening to all participants and my co-host and the organizer. And I'm Pradipta Patro, and having 21 years of experience in the IT domain. And today, I'm working for RPG Group to managing the cybersecurity risks, managing those IT risks, minimizing the IT risks. And also I'm heading the IT for KEC International Limited. It is a listed company in India, and we do all engineering, model of EPC business across the globe, around 65 countries. And of course, it's all our workforce are distributed across. Yeah, that's it. Thanks. Over to you.
So thank you very much, Pradipta. Just to recap, I'm a cybersecurity innovation leader in charge of governance, security, resilience, and vigilance for multi-billion-dollar market verticals for global enterprises and nations. I worked in the security industry for the past 2.5 decades. So you can refer me as a security solution architect or a seasoned security partner who works with the central and state governments and various business verticals such as BFSI and retail, digital, so enterprise clients, whichever you talk about, right? So I will offer secure architecture solutions, deep shift left DevSecOps journey, and balance risk-based security technologies, whether it may be on premises or on the cloud, whether you talk about GCP, AWS, Azure, or hybrid clouds or multi-clouds. So I have published a number of unified security architectures, technical articles in Scopus Index journals, and open source reference implementations to scale security, global security best practices. So my most recent paper, Top 12 Layer-wise Security Challenges and a Secure Architecture Solution for the Internet of Things, was published in the Science Direct and earned me the Best Researcher Award. So having a diverse global IT security teams, global security operations center, manages application security, infra security, cyber intel and research labs. In the past, I worked with Microsoft, McAfee, Infosys, Wipro, Deloitte, and currently with Reliance, enabling security for business. So I have given various talks at NIT Trichy, several conferences, and few of my talks has been published in the conference proceedings. Also, I was OWSP Global Leader, Hacking Labs Global Instructor, and a visiting professor at IITs and NITs across India. In terms of education, I am currently completing my PhD Finance thesis at the University of Mysore, and hold MTech in Computer Science from JNT Hyderabad, MIE from Institute of Engineers India, and MBA Finance from Symbiosis. So, gentlemen, let us now begin our wonderful discussion on today's topic, the CISO's Vision for Security and Risk Management 2023. So, cybersecurity is a fascinating subject. When we examine the attack vectors, whether they are in the application layer, network layer, or database layer, we can see whether it is a ransom attack or a Heartbleed, OpenSSL, malware, or distributed denial of service, attacks or spam and phishing, corporate account takeover, automated snapshot, or recent data leaks from Twitter, where 400 million users' data is up for sale, including the HNA customers. Latitude financial breach that impacts 2 million customers, Ferrari hack, crypto trading scams, fraud bots, Rubik, data thefts, and so on. So cybersecurity learnings are constantly evolving, right? So with this context, Pradipta, what are your perspectives on cybersecurity? And how do you see cybersecurity historically from the last 2 decades? What do you, Pradipta?
Yeah, thanks. See, the point is today, if you talk about the cyber security, it is not. It is getting evolved, like past decades. The way we talk about earlier those days is basically a simple malwares or simple viruses, some of the signature based, or talk about the different attacks are happening. Basically, it's a manual. Today, if you look into the attacks, the attack surface itself, it is very sophisticated, and the way that the attackers, we can look into it, it's more of like getting into sophisticated attacks. It is no more like to having one of the earlier those days, like the antiviruses we talk about, all is signature based and known based, like certain thing is known, unknown. And today, if you look into those perspectives, starting from the endpoint itself, if you're talking about today, we have EDR, SDR, it is enabled through internet, artificial intelligence or Uber kind of scenarios. This is all inbuilt, right? So on that perspective, if you look, it is completely changed. The shift is no more like no more it is a manual, or no more it is like moral of like predictable. It is unpredictable, and the attack surface today, if you look, it is gone beyond the edge to cloud. It is everything is like we have to see that. And today the way the digitizations are happening, the way today we have a IoT, industrial operational technology, we have Internet of Things, we have everything. It's autonomous. A lot of things are happening. Automations, your RPA, you talk about everything. Everything is like moral of like it is a risk to the organizations, or risk to that particular system, or risk to that particular ecosystem. Okay, And if I talk about earlier those days, we used to get like, log to be collected. Okay. So the point is like those correlations, event or incident, it is a lot of time we have seen that reactive nature. Today, if you are not action upon certain incident or certain issue, certain events, it can be a measure like, incident for you. Okay, so you need to be have more predictive, you need to have more visualized, you need to have more like, sophisticated, the way sophisticated attacks are happening, not only through the manual, it will be like, through your artificial intelligence side of it, machine learning side of it. It's like, happening so fast. So on that perspective, if you look, we need to also as a professional, we have to ensure that those things to be taken, those incidents to be taken on faster way, so that we can mitigate those challenges or issues or that risks what is coming to. And most important is today is how you quantify your risks. That is most important. It is not that like, everything is not critical, everything is not priority, everything is not to be like, taken up immediately or warfoot manner. It is more of like, how you quantify where is your crown jewels are there, what is the risks that crown jewel has. You need to have appropriate like, quantification of those risks. On that basis, we have to first stage is to identify the risks properly, and you identify your critical asset and quantify those assets depend upon your business. Okay, then you have to have how we are going to protect it. We need to protect those in different technology, process, people, everything is associated into that. Then there is a detection after doing something. Also, you won't expect that everything should be all right and you protect everything, but there should be a detection if something gone abnormality. Okay, so once that is done, then we can see how if something is happened, gone wrong, something we should have response. And the response is also, there are two ways, not a reactive, it should be a proactive, and the response should be faster. Okay, so that is the response you should have. Then after response, definitely if something is happened, definitely you have to restore and recover something, right? Whatever it is there. On that basis, we should to have all your stitching those things into people, process, technology. We have to bifurcate all those in the people. Who are the people is going to manage or maintain, who the people to response. And again, in the response side of it is also very crucial. Why I would like to highlight is today, the response was not no more to be a manual. It is 24/7, anytime, anything can happen. Okay, so you should have your response to be automated. If something is gone wrong in the evening and morning, night and morning, if you come, everything is gone for toss. Okay, we can't do such things. You have to have more proactive in nature, and you have to have your posture in right. The way I said, identifications, protection, detections, response, then you have recover and restore things. So that all to be aligned with the people, process, technology. That is what I can say.
Thank you, Pradipta. You said it very much perfectly. So excellent observations, So SOAR is one of the important items to quickly respond and then get into things, right? So please share your thoughts, Sachin. What do you think about how the perspective, what are your perspective on cybersecurity?
Okay, great. Thanks, Sri. See, now currently we are in the data and digital infrastructure. We are in the era of everything which is going to be get digitalized. And I can foresee the way we have cyber challenges today, probably it is going to be 10 times more in near future, provided if the proper set of controls, compliances, infrastructure is not implemented. And currently we have a very complex and a tapestry of public-private partnership, where we have a lot of ecosystems connected with each other, information infrastructure, where probably the understanding about what it is, how it is little less. So the degree of interconnections, dependency, if as and when it grows, definitely the interest for looking those attacks and exploitation for those infrastructure is going to get increased, and that is how the cyber is something which is on the boom, which is on the top now for every CISOs or CXOs or CIOs. And that is why we need to definitely look into that, what is our security posture, the privacy of our data, ethical challenges which is coming it from the down. We need to raise the fundamental questions about how to trust in our own digital systems. how they are connected, interconnected. Our internal system, external system, dependency on the external parties, third parties, vendors, all those factors needs to be looked into. And the most importantly, which I will say, which is the human factor. See, CISO can play a catalyst role here, but if message, whether they are handling a data, whether they are handling the infrastructure, or no matter what type of roles responsibility they are playing, if they are not properly educated, aware, and responsible for the cybersecurity of the organization, then definitely there is going to be a major problems into the organization. So people, I will say that people need to be considered first. And I have seen and it is proven model that more you educate the people. See, sometimes we do a phishing exercise, phishing simulations with lot of tools and technology which are available. But if the education factor is not there, what it is going to, people is the most important factor. And then layer by layer we have, as a summary, if you ask me, people as a awareness of the advanced tools and technology which are there. Most of the time we are talking about shift left or shift right, but I would say we need to look into shift up and shift down as well. When I say shift up, probably what is the commitment and the vision of top management for cybersecurity posture of the organization. And when we say top, looking down, works from awareness to those people. It's all direction, I can say. And if we were able to do this, probably we will pass through security journey.
So well articulated, Sachin. Thank you. So Mohammed, as a CISO with extensive cyber experience and expertise, so would you like to hear your thoughts on this?
I think fundamentally, when it comes to cybersecurity, I have a feeling it is easily understood, difficult to explain, challenging to execute. All right, the circumstances vary. Now, who are you trying to talk to? I think that is where the conversation becomes tough. I think I'll talk about two things. Like my fellow panelists said, it starts with organization's business goal and how can cybersecurity be seen as an enabler, because most often are not cybersecurity seen as an overhead or a cost. And the message that I try to drive is see this as an investment. All right, so we try to call it risk, try to call it scenarios, disruptions, how can it impact business, etc. Because while you may have budgets, resources, at times it gets difficult when the tone at the top is not supportive. You may not be successful. All right, that is one part of it. Having said that, let's say, do you have the visibility of the assets that you should have? Key thing is using the word protect everything, because you are always working with limited budget. The question is, how do you prioritize? How smartly can you do it? Again, going back to the visibility, what is the culture within the organization when it comes to the human factor? How do they see cybersecurity? Because oftentimes or not, it is seen that the ownership of cybersecurity is only with the cybersecurity, the CISO function or something else. Now there has to be constant noise where you make a point saying that, you know what, we are risk advisors, right? The ownership of the risk lies with the particular business. Let's say if it is employee data, it is HR function, it is payroll data, it is finance function. So I think this transition should happen over a period of time where we make aware the different business leaders that you are responsible for it, and something goes wrong, the buck stops with you. I think that is one about it. The second part is the employee base. How do they respond to the different phishing threats or the vishing threats, and so on and so forth. Now, what has complicated this with the digitalization with the 5G is the surface areas is unlimited, infinite. I can just hold my phone, which I have my email configured, and I just click a wishing SMS, and the whole corporate network gets compromised. All right, so while we have the benefits of 5G, etc., at the same time there are pitfalls. So how can you change, or rather transform or evolve the culture within the organization where we often see human is the weakest link? I try to propagate the message that every employee in my organization is a cyber warrior. All right, you're equally helping us defend the organization. Right? That transition should happen equally at the board, where we try to make them risk aware, saying that this is how things will happen if you do not do this. All right, so like in my case, I often used to get a question: are we secure? Right? It's a very difficult, it's a binary question. Nobody wants to answer that, right? I'd like to drive the conversation to the point where the board asks me now, are we reasonably secure? reasonable is the word, because let's say we are auditors who are signing a financial statement, we give a declaration, we have a reasonable state of controls. We never say absolute state of controls. Right? Nobody wants to take that heat. Similarly, we now at this point of time, I have the conversation where I say we are reasonably secure, and if we were to get hit, we would recover in a good, tolerable amount of time. So I think the awareness should come both at the employee level, executive level, and board level. And we also have the technological part. The question is, if we put 100 solutions, can I go back to the board and say, yes, we are fully secure because you gave me budget? On the contrary, I can be questioned, we gave you unlimited budget, are we fully secure? Right? We don't want to be at that point. Right? So it is about having the visibility. What do you want to do? Right? From alignment to business goals, to understanding of the expectation, understanding of the culture of the organization. Similarly, what are the needs? What are the threats? What are the assets you want to protect? I think we should be taking a well-rounded approach. Oftentimes, I prefer to keep it simple. And it takes some time to reason, but I think keeping it simple makes it easy communicating. So that is my perspective. And like Sachin said, it will get complicated over a period of time. I don't know, it gives us good professional opportunities. At the same time, we might have some sleepless nights as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what are the data we are getting is near real time, right? We are acting near real time.
Yep.
So, thanks a lot for your clear explanation, Mohammed. So, Sachin, as the global head of InfoSec, so how do you see? Can you please discuss about your transformation of InfoSec from the traditional to contemporary? So, how do you see the gap in the industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say it's a journey. It's we cannot say that it is we are 100 reasonably. So that's a good word. We should always use reasonably secured. But it's a journey. I would say every day there are a lot of new learnings, a lot of challenges. Every day when we are moving towards the next step, probably we come across that, okay, this is something we should have been done. But yes, from the last few years, I have seen that we have grown up like in the good scale, because a lot of now the good tools which are available, probably which are helping us to immediately get the dashboards, and you can see on the screen that what is happening, where it is happening, and probably immediately you can react to those, and you can prevent those with the help of tools and technical. Learning is something which we enabled, and we have a high focus on the skill enhancements and learning, because because since I'm a global speaker, go to a lot of conferences, and typically we have seen that when interacting with the vendors, probably most of the vendors, they are implementing a solution for you, they are doing a POC for you, they are making, and then they are giving a handover that, okay sir, thanks, our job is done, now you can run the show. Your team should be aware about. If they are not, is on the autopilot mode, you are running the definitely there is going to be a big hit when, if you are not aware about the issues which are coming on your path. So learning well education about what exactly the job roles they are doing, they are well equipped with the usage of those tools, probably I would say threat vectors or the threats which are happening outside of to their domain. If I consider developers in my organization, definitely if they have the recent threat vectors or the risks which are popping up in the market, if they are aware about, if they know how to prevent it, if they are a solution available and they are well equipped with the knowledge of prevent it, definitely we are moving into the right direction. So education awareness is a most important thing which we should be doing, leveraging those tools and technology, I would say. Second thing is a cybersecurity awareness. The corner, starting from an last employee to the first employee, I would say top-down approach. If they are aware about what they need to do in case of if the things has happened, like phishing, spam, whatever issues, definitely that will be a big help for prevention of cyber issues and attacks, because most of the Gartners or the ransomware, the dashboards, if you have robust the solutions which are available. You have a lot of integrations which we can do. SOAR, XDR, MDR, endpoints, and a lot of good firewall. Enhance the layer of which are available on the cloud if you have deployed that. But again, yes, not 100% because it's a daily task which we need to do. And the screen needs to be observed on the real-time basis that what is happening. So if we have that visibility, yes, then only we are safeguarding. We are not giving 100%, but yes, we are suggestions and another data. So tools, technology, people leverage those tools. And the most important part, which I have seen recently, we are enabling, we are implementing a lot of tools in our environment. But have we ever duplication of those tools which probably we are using same functionality? So it's a duplication, it's overhead. How we can reduce by making it more simple, not making it more complex, because more you make it a complex, then definitely you are going in a problem. So how to make it simpler, how to integrate those components, and how to make your dashboard simple and readable so that immediately you can act upon. A lot of times there are multiple tools with the same functionality which we have deployed. For example, email solution. We have a lot of email solutions which are available, and we are deploying layers and layers of email solution. But at the end, what is your objective is? Can we have the redundant or maybe a duplicate of the technologies, move away from our environment and make it more simple, make it more meaningful, make it more robust and strong, and getting the base usage and objective of that? Can we derive that? That is something if we do, I guess definitely, because see, collation of logs data is simple. But articulating, analyzing, reading dashboards, reading those dashboards, presenting, acting, it's all the time consuming. If you have a very simple, very easy to understand dashboards available, immediately you can act upon it and you can remediate it. So again, from the cost, resource, bandwidth, performance, scalability, everything perspective, if we make our environment more simple, but same time more strong, I guess definitely that is going to be a big help for a lot of organization. Because since being into the CISO, you get a lot of calls that, okay, sir, we have this solution available. Sir, we have this, and for WAF only, I have seen the organizations they have deployed 3 to 4 layer of WAFs in their environment. Now it should not be just because of someone is claiming or implementing it. You also need to understand the usage and the leveraging those tools in your environment. If you do that, I guess we will be able to go to the highest level in cyber part.
Yeah, thanks, Sachin. I just want to resonate what you told about lending and other things, right? So I want to tell a small story here, So it was one of the day where I was supposed to meet one of the HNI customer. So it's very big organization and very big customer. So we were just having a conversation. He suddenly told to me sir, we purchased something from so-and-so company, which stops all my ransomware attacks. It was a surprise to me. I thought okay, ransomware stop, take those things, right? So he is very happily saying we have spent this many crores of money for bringing this device, and this device will stop the ransomware attacks. Then when I look into the invoice, I saw it's a L3 router. So the vendor who sold to this company a L3 router claimed that he stops the ransomware attack. So the story here is the guidance to the customer, right? So customer don't know anything, right? As a CISOs or as salespersons. So we should also educate our partners and whatever things how it goes in the cyber industry. So gentlemen, well said. To summarize, cyber threats are multi-faced, right? Hackers attempt to target the crown jewels, so applications and the application layer, network layer, and database layers. First and foremost, we must identify all our crown jewels, whether it may be your PII, SPI data, like information, database, or immediately still being targeted, right? So if you understand this philosophy, we can better consider what security controls are needed and how can we bridge this gap. Basically, whether we want to bridge the gap of the network layer, application layer, or database layer, or what is that security control we want. So as Mohammed and Sachin has told, so overloading of certain systems, and I have a small machine. When I start overloading with the antivirus machine and then endpoint intelligence, the final is the machinery core, right? So we need to understand, like, what security controls are really required at that moment. So, and then now, is it really a crown jewel for me at that? And then if it is a crown jewel, like, what is the base minimum requirement that we need to keep that secure, right? So you need to start looking into that and then start investing in that. It gives a good direction. So using this as a model, right, Pradipta, so what are your thoughts on the shift from traditional to digital attack vectors? How the attack vectors are getting transition? So what is that attack vector you have seen in the past, and how is it in the digital one now?
Yeah, thanks, Sri. To be very honest, if you see the digital transformations, it is keep on happening. Like, it is not like, somewhere it has started, but only thing is after this pandemic is there, like, it is accelerated that growth, like, multifold. That means today, if you talk about the digital twins, neural network or IML, those things is adoption are happening very fast. Not only for like, BFSI or some kind of industry, it is across industry, the digitizations are happening. Today, if you see that financial inclusion across India, take India as example, or today, if you can talk about that COVID certificate, vaccination drives, or like, nearest geolocation people are around, see, everywhere the digitization is happening. It is not only for this particular industry, it is across any industry. Today, if you look into the manufacturing side of it, yes, it is happening across. Today, your plant information management systems, which is resided at earlier those days in that particular plant locations. Today, that plant information systems data, the telemetry data goes to the cloud. They need to analyze the data there, that industrial landing zone where we can have lot of industrial data, the telemetry data, then you are getting into. Similar way, if you talk about the autonomous car, or today if you talk about the every devices is having like, those kind of the data. It is huge data, it is getting gathered on the cloud, and do the analysis on those, and you can utilize that is the meaningful purpose. If you say about the data, okay, how the insurance company will give insurance to your health, about your health data. So everything can be monitored, your data every day and collected, and end of the year, like, it give you that insurance based on your complete telemetry, what are the data they collected from you. Similar, it has happened to your industrial devices as well, including your cars, including your machineries, including your heavy machineries. Perspective, if you talk about, we are the journey of like the industry 4.0. Now you may say that it will going beyond 5.0. The way Mr. Rafiuddin is coming, it is like, again, the biggest, like, supported for those technology digital transformation to the next level. Okay. So the point is, talk about the medical side of it, talk about that pharmaceutical business for BFSI, are using that artificial intelligence and machine learning. And today the chat GPT has come up. You can see that one of the use cases where we that have the both pros and cons. Okay. So on that, even though the chat GPT can write a malware for you, if you can attack to XYZ, or might be certain malware for utility. So that is here, it has gone up to the level. And the digitization or financial inclusions, or like, the talk about the example is the UPI or the Paytm or the phone pay today, and adoptions are very fast. And digital growth and digital not just like, on the 10 to 20, 20 to 30 to 40, it has gone beyond that. So looking into that perspective, the vector what you're talking about, the surface is boundaryless. So what is the point you are going to highlight, or we as a CISO, or what is the data? See, we are not protecting network, protecting equipment. How the data is on transit, data into the rest, data into the tunnels. So here we need more towards that your identity access management. That means wherever you wanted to access your data, irrespective of the device, irrespective of your geolocation, irrespective of which broadband connection or which internet connection, where you are connecting. If you look into the data, how are these people? let's say I'll give you an example of it. Somebody is accessing the data from, let's say, from India or some of the city. Immediately the same data, same resource is accessing from your different continent. It is not quite impossible, right? The person cannot move within an hours or 2 hours or 5 hours is going to different continent, right? On that perspective, kind of policy manage those identity access. This is what is everything. The way Sachin and Mr. Rafi has highlighted, of course, the control, governance, everything is there. But still, are you confident that 100% you are secure? Not at all. Not at all. Because they're changing. Sophisticated attacks are happening. It is no more like, the Stuxnet where it was there. It is and then today the 2023. Okay, on that perspective, we need to see what is that is bringing is your practices, whether it is a MITRE attacks or might be the NIST framework. All organizations should look into that perspective. What kind of framework we have to adopt? What are that you have to identify your tester? What are the data are going? Which data is important? Data classification, as I said, you have to classify your data, which is yours restricted and how you are going to protect around, whether it is in REST or it on the cloud or it is anywhere, wherever it is, whether it is a systems, local system endpoint. That is important today. So we need to ensure that the profiling is to be in right place, identity and access management. After doing all such things, we can't protect, we can't say that, right? So we should have appropriate cyber resiliency strategy. See, everything is boiled down to your business strategy, right? If you are doing your cybersecurity strategy, you have to bring what is your business strategy. So we need to align with the business and their strategy. If you talk about cyber resiliency today, do I need to create the DR? Do you need to copy the backup for 3+1? Or what is that we have? It is all no more. It is cybersecurity profession to have defined. They can give you that controls, governance, policies, but they come through the business. So I may say that cyber, resilience is paramount here. Whatever you do the things, whatever controls you are getting into, whatever governance you do, still that something other incident may happen. So what is your response status? How do you have your incident response management plan in place? Do you have your restoration plan tested? It is not recover okay, I'm doing the backup, okay, I'm not ensure that when I need it, that backup can be usable. So you need to do the restoration strategy in place. And also, when you see that something is not in your control, you need to quantify your risks as well. Getting to the risks, it is a tough task, different topic altogether. So what I'm summarizing this point is, of course, management is paramount, and the cyber resiliency is important. And as Sachin and Mr. Rafi is already highlighted, it's everyone's responsibility, but accountability is there with your top bosses. Yeah. So we as a CISO ensure that we need to highlight our risks appropriately and different level. And also same time, we have to have right governance in place, controls are effective and efficient. Okay. It is not only effective, it should be efficient as well, because the budget is always limit. Okay. So, and the third is that, of course, awareness, user awareness is important, because it is the single click, as you rightly said, one single click means in one of your lakh of rupees or crore of rupees. So nutshell, yes, is we need to create a right human firewall across the organization, bringing that organization culture, awareness culture up to some standard. I may not say that 10 to 100 where we are now, but we need to assess or assessment done where we are, so that at least we know where we are and what we are going to achieve, and what are the things we can improve on the process, people, process and technology perspective. Thank you.
So well said. So medications in the correct order that every patient or the caretaker has to take care, right? Similarly, rather than following the complex checklist, so taker teams in IT, they have to play an important role. And the CISO can dictate, right, dictate or give a perspective what is that required for an analysis, what controls that need to be enabled. Are the controls are over controlled or less controlled? Mohammed, so this is for you. So what are the most significant challenges that the CISO you are facing on a daily basis?
I think the whole idea is how do we secure our environment, ecosystem, crown jewels, etc. So I was telling a friend of mine who's a CISO, the only truly secure system is the one which is powered down or powered off. And I don't think we would like to use that system, right? And we cannot be using that. But I think if you ask me, I go back to the same concept. It's a culture. I think a lot of things will go back to the culture part of it. All right. I think that's the biggest challenge I think I face every day. The culture, the resistance, the openness to be able to relate. I think there are technological advances which we as a CISO and our technologies, we try to figure out what are the new threats, what are the landscapes, like how it has evolved. Earlier, it was only on-prem systems. All right. Now the cloud concept came in. It is much ahead. It will continue to stay. Then the 5G came and so on. I'll give you a very good example. I was talking to somebody from a transport team. There's a logistics, so they have the ability to track their trucks, etc. For them, IT is all about their ability to track live if the truck has slowed down, is it not going on the right pace. For them, rest all is nothing. All right, IT means can they see on their phone or their dashboard, is the truck moving as they said, is the temperature the way it should be? Because I always say a problem is to acknowledge the problem in its place. Do we acknowledge? All right. So again, culture, technology is a challenge because the way the threats are evolving every day, a new threat comes, different way of attacks. Fully agree, undeniably. I'm all with it. I think how can we be resilient? How can we face and how can we be counterproductive in these things? I think it has to be a well thought through strategy where all the forces join together. It could be the internal forces within the organization, and one such thing is this collaboration that we are talking about. We learn from each other. Like I was in another event where they said, if hackers can collaborate, why can't we? And that's exactly what we are trying to define, listening to each other. We build a culture right within our ecosystem, be it our home, be it teacher or family members, how to use the devices in the rightful manner. Because I see these days even not necessarily toddlers, but young kids having phones with internet, and a few clicks might be boom. The technological landscapes, like Sachin said in his initial comments, will continue to get complicated. He in fact said it is 10 times which might get complicated. All right, if the technology gets complicated 10 times, I think the risk get complicated or manifold into 100 times. All right, and we as CISOs should be prepared for those 100 times. And it starts with human, because a lot of time people are saying, oh, chat GPT take away our jobs. But people who used it and leverage away the jobs from the people who don't know or who are not familiar and how to use it smartly. So right, again, like with everybody else, I'm echoing similar thought. It is about building human warriors to be able to face that and to be able to deal with, and that's how we can take it forward.
Yeah, it is still one of the most dangerous hacking techniques used by the cyber criminals today. So following are the supply chain related attacks, advanced persistent threats, denial of services, management attacks. So, Sachin, what are your thoughts? What is the opportunity that has at this moment of time to consider right now? The future cyber readiness is there. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Nice question. In the CISO language or in the security language, I will say how much is only required, how much is your appetite. We should collect and store that much only. If we are able to collect that much only, probably then we have a good visibility, and the word which we are using, the jewel of the crown or whatever. So this is what we have collected, what is required. We know what we have collected, and out of it, what is the prime importance at the organization level, because some military laws are getting more. You take any country, there are the independent laws, and which are like very stringent, very strict. Probably this PDPB is also very soon getting enforced to India as well. So regulators are on the other side, they are enforcing a lot of regulations and which are going to be more strict. Data is something which is flowing in the air, and everything is like coming in, going out. So ultimately what is required and what is in the scope of your business, if you know that, if you are protecting, storing, and then probably security, privacy controls, technology controls, if you are deployed on it, yes, you are on the good shape as a part of data protection. The second most important thing is still, because there is a still scope of you are getting hacked, or you are getting attacked, or there are some issues, or there are some problems through whatever channels. So as Rafi mentioned, we human firewall. So that human firewall should be sitting outside perimeter. So anything which is coming, which is trying to come inside, yes, definitely the human firewall should protect. So if that education awareness and understanding about. The third and important will be implementing some framework. See, most of the time we do a lot of implementation of processes, governance model, but it should not be ad hoc. There has to be some structured way of doing the things. If we have structured, because see, when we say that, okay, I have deployed some framework, definitely when you are deployed something, you are going to monitor it, you are going to measure it. Once you're going to monitor, measure, definitely you are going to get a score out of it. And basis upon the score, you are going to come that, yes, this is what I should be looking into, because this is something which maybe it's a self-assessment, maybe it's a external audits, you are going to get your own scorecards, and that will help to check, assess that where you are lagging, probably which are the areas you need to put more efforts in. So that the framework governance model has to be there. Automatically the measurement and all those stuff, monitoring will come in picture, and will be cyber resiliency. Work, educating people, tools, technology, everything you have in an organization. But yes, in case if something goes wrong, what is readiness, preparedness, or resiliency part? So cyber resiliency, cyber incident management program has to be very, very robust, need to be tested in an ecosystem, and you should be getting the objectives for what it is designed for. If you have these 4 to 5 areas, definitely yes, we are good.
Yeah. So, adding to Sachin, in my opinion, the CISOs must think ahead of hackers, right? So, as the other gentleman also accepted this. So, the context is aided by a CISO. And assume the dashboard has 3 major verticals. So, say, like, how we so simple questions such as, like, how we are doing an organization in terms of cybersecurity. Are we compliant or not? So, how are the things going in the application layer? What are the controls that the application layers, whether they're connected or not? What are the proper security controls that enabled at the perimeter? So are our APIs are secure? The security controls that are there. So coming to the networking, like, to see how we are doing at the network area. So are we compliant at network? Or is there any ACLs which we are written, like, in an ACL, or any port to any port, or any IP to any IP? So 10 vast practices are we getting those tested? Coming back to the network layer, is our perimeter security controls are proper or not? How we are doing? Do we have a proper firewalls, ACLs, layer 7 inspections or layer 3 inspections? And at the same time, like, coming to the endpoint, how we are doing? Are all our endpoints patched properly, up to date? So do we have file integrity checks? And if someone is trying to change the file, right? So how the file integrity is sending the feed, right? So all these feeds can collaborate together and gives a perspective to the CISO or a CXO, telling, like, am I compliant or not? So we understand how the attack is spreading, and we have the sufficient control around us, and we can get the feed in the near real time. Again, like, faulty, right? So given this as a context, CISO must divide his organization into different verticals, right? So what are the main difficulties that you can expect if you want to take the risk? Pradipta?
Yeah, say honestly, yeah, of course. If you talk about the dashboard and, like, what are the parameters we should, or KPIs we should look into, the most important part is our depth That means development, security, and operations. That is the fundamental part. If you talk about the application side, the whatever you develop, like before it is goes for testing, it should be go through the security as well. Starting from the coding itself, it is not like mandatory everything we have done. And the end of the day, after you before launching for the certain application or hosting certain application, you go come for security. No, if it is development is done, getting through that your coding itself, it should be secure. Getting into tested, like what's getting into the operation and sustaining that for periodic basis and continuous assessment. That is one part of the application side of it. Apart from that, if you look into it, see, security is a layer of defense. It is not like something the plug and play or seal. It is not a silver bullet where everything can be taken care of it. Every layer, if you talk about the edge layer or endpoint layer, you should have your all controls in place, technologies are in place, processes are in place. As exceptions, small cases for like you highlighted social engineering side of it, or you ask talking about the OneDrive access or your cloud application access. This is all vulnerable lists. But you need to assess what is the business requirement. So today we have to have balance between business and cyber security side of it. It is not like everything you protect, everything you disable, then you are gone. Then how your business is going to perform their activities? Or they have to be flexible. It's not that control environment. It should give them the flexibility as well. But while doing that, this flexibility, ensure that the cyber security has been taken care. Exceptions are monitored closely. Layer of defense. You create the defense layer 1, 2, 3 parameters, and that is your dashboard. And ultimately, that dashboard coming out to be a side. But any system should be faced because this 10 system is my important where my business is. Dream is okay, might be that end user system, virtual environment, that may not be the risks. Okay, similar, we have to quantify your risks, and that should be your dashboard, looking into which layer of defense, what control efficient it is, what is the KPIs part of it, and what is that is missing. So you need to focus the missing and provide the solution as well. It is not that you just highlight the risks. What is coming is, look, in this layer, this is the risks. This is the layer, application side, this is the risks. This is the external risks. This is the internal risks. This is the third party risks. You have to consolidate everything and look that holistic view total is what is the risks is. And on that basis, you have to act up and you have to take your budget and you have to discuss with the senior management into it, highlight those risks, and it is not all risks can be mitigated. Some risks you can do that acceptance, certain things is you can avoid, certain things you can mitigate. Something can be transfer it to the whoever the expert is. So similarly, we have to plan, strategize it appropriately. And the dashboard I have to say is today is very difficult, because of silos technology is around, will not be able to get those data into that particular system. So you need to have the right platform, and that platform should give you the live data. It is not 2 days data. If you're giving the range now, this is, you can't give that is this is the current scenario, this that it's okay. Or 2 months data, or once you have done once in a year or twice you have done year, we are doing certain assessment and you got a report. And on that basis you worked upon. But while you are working on that the 6 months, then again the risk has changed. Posture has been changed. The new risk has come up. Recent example is certain ransomware is not having any variant. It is cleaning your all event as well. While he is getting into it, is cleaning all your events. So we can't take that is more skilled. The way you talked about, if attackers can be together, why not that protectors can be together and passing on your knowledge, intelligence around, so that we can be able to tackle those. That is, and also the people's skill. Today, if you talk about the skill, is just challenges. People's skill that I'm talking about. If you are not knowing what kind of variant this ransomware or malware or this particular subjects, then you can't validate within your system. So you have to be more skilled, or you have to be more in the advanced and up to date on that. Otherwise you are gone, which are the position you are in this field, you're gone. You have to keep on update yourself. So that is one. And second is the people, as I said, people, process, technology. We have to right people, we have to right organization, right cultures. Those are the things we have to the CISO's role as well to ensure that at least your cybersecurity organization are systematically and giving right report, right dashboard to the senior management, so that they can take right decisions on time.
Exactly. So coming to the best practices, a few key conclusions, right? So a CISO has to build his organization on solid fundamentals, right? So solid foundations. Say, for example, he should have a practice of secure architecture and design. So a deep shift left program. So network security, AppSec. So when you talk about deep shift left, secure architecture and design team, right? This team is in charge of evaluating low-level design or architectures at the conceptual level, at about 50,000 feet level, right? They need to see how your low-level architecture is designed, and does that architecture has proper security hygiene or not. So at that moment of time, they should also coach the businesses, the delivery teams, so what are the minimum security controls that are required for the architecture or the design to make it security hygiene. So once they get an understanding, and once the delivery teams work with the CISOs and the secure architecture team, so they start building the architecture and design in a secure way, right? So parallel, once they give a clear, once they start giving the clearance, telling okay, this security hygiene is, and then based on that, right, architecture has to get into the software development life cycle. So this is one of the hygiene that every CISO has to look into. That will help, the CISO journey a bit of easier. So with this as a context, right,
Absolutely, Steve.
Yeah, with this context, I will just leave it to the audience, what are your final words so that we can have for the today?
Yeah, absolutely. What you said, absolutely right, Mr. C. So the point is every stage we need to have a security inbuilt automatically. It is not options. It is on that basis. If we can work, it will be the secure culture. Apart from that culture, we have to have right governance and processes around, and the right platform where we can bring those risks or integrated those solutions into place. In the same time, the secure architecture, what you talked about, whenever you have designing something or the new thing is coming or application design, at least we need to have the validated right on that point of time for the corrective actions. The soon you correct, the impact will be less, or else the impact will be high, right? And while you're doing that, everything project is about to complete and you will be getting security clearance. It is tough time that point of time. We may see also roadblock. So we need this in the initial stage itself to system in place manner, and we can create the right culture, and also we can create a right awareness around within a staff. At every stage, the security is a key parameter for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So to that end, the CISO is accountable for the entire information security posture of the ecosystem under his supervision. So this is where the CISO comes comes into the play. So with this context, conclude our series for today. Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.